We are in Parshas Chayei Sarah. We're living with Sarah a whole week, even though she just passed away. Second reading. We are in the book of Bereshit, Genesis, fifth Torah portion, chapter 23, verse 17. We continue. Yaakov. So Avram buried his wife Sarah.
Yes.
Well, he purchased. Yes. He purchased the property. It's the first purchase. You know, what's interesting, Pesach Hashem mentioned yesterday, it's the first purchase ever mentioned that's recorded in history. A contract that's done with witness in front of witnesses, the amount of money, the location, everything is recorded very clearly. Quite amazing.
We own it.
We own it, exactly. Yaakov stay Ephraim, and it arose. Rashi will actually the field of Ephraim, giving you a literal translation. Asher b'Machpelah, that is in the Machpelah, the field of the Machpelah. Asher lifnei Mamre, that's before the plains of Mamre. Asad v'Amayra, both the field and the cave. Asher boy, that is in the cave that's in the field, right? Chola eitz asher basada, and all of the trees that are in the field. Asher b'chol gevula saviv, that is in the complete gvul boundary or perimeter, saviv, around. In other words, so here it says in translation, was thus confirmed, which would be the word yakom. The first word is in English is the last word. Right. Just to give you a little, okay. So Rashi in 17, Yaakov stay Ephraim, and the field of Ephraim stood. How's a field stand? Right. That's what it literally means. Right. That it stood. So Rashi says, Tekuma Haisala, it had an ascent, the field, because it left the possession of a commoner, Ephraim, Liad Melech, and came in the possession of a king, Avram. Right? But the simple meaning of it is, Yaakov say, that the field and the cave and everything in these trees that stood in it, Avram Lemikne, that became a purchase for Avram. That's a simple meaning. Why is Rashi then not just bring the simple meaning, and why does he bring it second? Obviously, it doesn't suffice to explain those words. Chumash and Rashi. You can come and join us if you'd like.
The booklet here.
L'Avram, and to Avram, the Mikneh, the purchase, Le'nei B'nei Ches, was publicly in full view of B'nei Ches, the Hittites. B'chol ba'yei shar Yirai, and all those came to the gate of the city. Rashi, B'chol ba'yei shar Yirai, all those came to the gate of the city, B'kerev kulam, among them all, B'mayimid kulam, in the presence of all of them. Ephraim transferred ownership to Avram. It's interesting because it's repetition. We had this yesterday. So, in other words, this was intentionally done in the public view so that it should be recorded for all of history that this belongs to Avram. And afterwards, Avram buried Avram is Sarah. He buried Sarah Ishta, his wife, El Maras into the cave, Stei HaMachpelah, of the field of the Machpelah. Al Pnei Mamre, facing the plains of Mamre. He Chevron, which this is Chevron, Beretz Canaan, in the land of Canaan. Yaakam Asada in the field, got up again, meaning it was confirmed. Vamaira and the cave Asher Avram, that is in it, that it's to Avram, it belongs to him. Lachuzas Kever, as a burial from the Bnei Ches, right? Again, repeating why Rashi doesn't say something, why it's repeated. Again, to just reconfirm. I guess it needs to be repeated and repeated because guess what? The memo didn't get to the world. This is the most read book, the most purchased book in the history of humanity. Somehow they didn't get the memo and that it belongs to us. Okay. Chapter 24, verse number 1. Avram Zaken, and Avram was elderly, old. Baba Yamim, this is the mimer we just finished learning yesterday. We started a new one today. Chayei, right? 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:05. This is the mimer that Avram was elderly, he was old. Baba Yamim, he came into his days. Avram Beirach is Avram Akil, and God blessed him with everything. Rashi Beirach Avram Bakil. What does it mean he blessed him Bakil? What's Bakil? With everything. As opposed to not everything? Whenever it comes from God is a blessing whenever. So Rashi picks up on the Bakil, Rashi Ben. The word Bakil is a numeric value of Ben, son. Right? Base Nun, base is 2, Nun is 50, that's 52. And Bakil is 2, base is 2. Chaf is 20 and Lamed is 30, that's 52. Since he had a son, Isha, he had to take a wife for his son. He had to get him married.
This is even before he said earlier, he's like, okay.
And Avram said to his servant, Zikan Beisai, the elder of his household, and others. He had several servants, but this was, the Eliezer, the main guy, who was in charge of everything that belonged to him. Place your hand under my thigh, by my thigh, under my thigh, literally. Let's see, Rashi, what does that mean? Verse number 2, Zikan Beisa, he's the elder of the household. This is a construct form, Nakud Zikan. So it's vowelized Zikan. And that means, construct means the word of, right? He's the elder of the household. Takas Yerechi, place your hand under my thigh, Lefish and Nishba, since someone who takes an oath, person who takes an oath has to take in their hand, Chafet Shel Mitzvah, an object of a mitzvah, right? When you're taking an oath in court, you have to have the Bible that you take an oath with, right? Where'd they get that from? Right here. This is the source of this idea. Huh?
Never mind, my mind was wandering somewhere.
Higain Sefer Torah. In other words, like having a Torah scroll or tefillin. Bamila is a mitzvah rishon. So for Avram, he only had one mitzvah, and that was circumcision. That's the only thing that he got directly commanded from God to fulfill. Everything else that he fulfilled was, not as a command of God, but as a tradition passed down and so on. Right. And this commandment came to him through pain, and it was precious to him. So therefore he put his hand next to his reproductive organ where he had the bris to take an oath next to something of a mitzvah. And that's right. The bris is a mitzvah. So now he's making him take an oath. This was yesterday's last night's Torah studies. So here we have the verse number 3, where he makes him take the oath. Let's follow the Ashbiacha, and I will make you swear. I'll make you take an oath by Hashem in God. Elokei Hashemayim, God who is the God of heaven, Elokei Haaretz, and God of the earth. Asher lo yisika, that you should not take Isha, a woman, a wife, livni for my son, b'bnei Kanani, from the daughters of the Canaanites, Asher anechi yeshem b'kirbo, that I dwell amongst them. From here, don't take a wife. Ki alarti, rather you shall go to my land. El maladati, my place of upbringing. Telach, you shall go. Belekachta, and you shall take Isha, a woman, a wife, livni, for my son, Yitzchak, Yitzchak. Okay, so now he responds, Eliezer, to Avram, and he says, and he says to him, Ha'eved, the servant, Ulai perhaps, she will not desire, Ha'isha, this woman, right? Laleches, to go, Acharai, after me, El Ha'aretz Azois, to come to this land. Now, she's not going to go follow me to this land, right? To bring her as a wife to Yitzchak. So the question he has now, Ha'hashev, should I return? Ashiva, shall I return? It's Mincha, your son, El Ha'aretz, to the land of Asher Yatzasa Misham, that you were left from there? Should I bring him back there? In other words, if she's not ready to come, she's ready to get married to him, but not ready to leave her family. What should I do? Is his question. Avram, and Avram responded to him, saying, be careful for yourself, lest you return as B'nai Yishama, that you return my son there. And now here is the next verse that we had from last night, which we have the Rashi on this that we explained last night. And Hashem, be careful, don't return him there. Hashem, Elokei Hashemayim, who is the God of heaven and not of earth, doesn't mention here earth, right? Asher lekachani, and that he took me, he took me from my father's home, God, from my place of upbringing, Asher diber li, and that which he spoke to me, Vasher nishba li, not only spoke to me, but he also swore to me. God swore to me, Lemor, saying, Lizaracha, to your seed, to your offspring, Etain, I will give. God says, I will give. It's this land, the land that I'm in. Hu yishlach malachai. So don't worry. God is giving this land, so Yitzchak can't leave here. He has to stay here. This is the land he's getting, right? So here you are, and as a result of it, who yishlach, he will send, God will send, he will send what? Malachai, his angel, God's angel, lefanecha, before you. And you will take a wife for my son from there. Others, don't worry, angel of God is going to take care of you. Everything's going to be hunky-dory. Rashi, and this was the Rashi we learned last night, Hashem, Hashem, who's the God of heaven, not mentioning here the God of earth, that took me from my father's home, and he didn't say, Elokei Haaretz, the God of earth, and above, Amar and Vashbiachan, and there it says, I will make you take an oath, right? Amar Akshav. So he explains. So he said, now who Elokei Hashemayim Elokei Haaretz. Now God is the God of heaven and God of earth. Why? So he explains. Shir Galtiv, because I'm accustomed b'pi abriyos, in the mouth of creations of people, right? That they're accustomed. Yeah, they're accustomed to mention God in their conversation, to say Baruch Hashem, right, and whatnot. But when I was taken from my father's home on the other side of the Euphrates, Iraq, right? He was the God of heaven, but not a God of the earth. Why not? Shaloi hayu, because it wasn't at that time. Boya olam, the humanity, people that of the earth of this world, makirin boy, they didn't recognize God, Ushmai and His name. Loi hayu baritz was not accustomed in the land, right? It wasn't, huh?
Last night,
That's what I just said a few times already. Yes,
I said another time. Be sure.
right. So I had a bunch of questions on this, if you recall. If Rashi's coming to explain only the fact that discrepancy in the words, that in verse 3 it says the God of heaven and earth, and here it's only the God of heaven, then why is he bringing the words, who took me out of my father's home? What's that got to do with anything? Also, when he in Rashi, where it says, where he quotes the verse above, says that I swore, I made you swear. Why is I made you swear have anything to do with the point? It's about the discrepancy in the words, and there it just mentions it with a v'goimer, with a so on and so forth, right? Kind of only hinting that part, which is the main part. So we explained. So we explained. Um, So we explained that Rashi is not coming to explain the discrepancy in the words. Rashi is coming to explain the discrepancy that Eliezer had that he didn't understand, and Rashi is explaining. Eliezer says, well, if she doesn't want to go, should I bring Yitzchak to Mesopotamia there? And so he says, no. So he has a problem with that. If you don't want the people from here because they're not good, but you want from there because they are good, so then why not send your son there, right? Because you're telling me not to take from here. Obviously, they're not good over here. So what Rashi explains is that Yitzchak says, well, there's 2 points over here. There's 2 points. There's good in behavior, or not in behavior so much, but so yeah, in sort of external behavior. And then there is good in a quality of your nature. So I don't want anybody from here because they don't have a good character quality. I have to take from my family. My family, they have good character quality. So if they have good character quality, so then why shouldn't Yitzchak go and live there? Because God is not something that's a part of their life. There's idolatry there. So then if there's idolatry, why would you want someone from there? It's because here they're not idolatrous, because I have accustomed people to speak about God, but they only speak about God. They don't live with God in an integrated, internalized way. And therefore, from here, you can't take a wife because the character quality. And there they have a good character quality. And character quality is more important because that's something you cannot, that's a natural character, that's a natural tendency of a person that you can't change. The behavior you could change. The fact that they are idolatrous over there, well, she'll be educated over here about one God, and she'll change her character quality. And that's why you can't stay there, because even though the character quality is good, but the belief system is off. Beliefs you could change. Character you can't change. Beliefs you could change. That's why you could have, someone who's born in a Republican home and they become a Democrat, right? But they both are angry people. Why? Because the parents are angry, so the kids are angry, right? All right. That's character. So the character is something internal that is, and therefore you can't take from here in Canaan, even though they're not idolatrous. They speak of God. That's how the Rebbe explains this in brief. Okay, next Rashi, Mibes Avi, Micharam from Charan, my father's house. There's Maladati from the place of my family that's from Ur Kasdim.
Okay.
And Asher Berli, that he spoke to me concerning me, Letzorchi, for my needs. Asher Diber Allah, like he has spoken concerning me, Chenkoli, Veloy Velahem, Hasmuchi Meitel Diber, when they're next to the verb of to speak, Mufarashim Belashin Al means not to, but concerning. Allah, concerning Allah, concerning him, Allah, and concerning them, and so on. Shein Neifel, Eitzel Diba Loshin Li Belay Velahem, Ella Lai Ela Vela, Targum, Shalem Yabim Yamahain. But when it's in the form of a verb, Amar, to say, then Lai Veli, Neifel Loshin Li, Lai Lahem, that means to him. Shea Nishba. So that was some grammar over there. Nishbali, that he swore to me. Where? The covenant between the pieces when he split the animals and walked through them, there was a covenant that was made. Oh. No, two more verses. No, thank you. The im and if the woman will not desire to come after you, you are clean from my oath, this oath. Rak is just my son, do not return there. Rashi, in the case of Mishwasi, you are clean from my oath. Look, so you're absolved, you're clean from my oath, and you'll take a wife from the daughters of Anar, Eshkol, or Mamre. Rak is bini only, right? Rak miutu means a limitation. Bini ain't a chazer. So my sons are going there. Aval Yaakov ben bini seifel but my grandson, the son of my son, Yaakov, he will return there, right? Because he's going to live there. He's going to live in Haran. He's going to have a family there, right? Yasam Ebed is Yadai Tachas Yerech Abram, and he placed the servant, his hand under the thigh of Avram, Adainav, his master, Vish Valoi, and he swore to him all davar zeh concerning this matter. Psh.
You have to have a wife. When you go, you're not getting a wife. That's what yours was.
Well, not from there. And that he will not return him there.
But he broke that oath.
No, he didn't. How did he break it? Rivka comes back with him.
Absolved to the oath of mine.
He'll be absolved if she doesn't want to come back. Yeah.
Yitzchak never allowed to leave the land of Israel since he was offered as a because he was offered as a sacrifice, he's not allowed to leave the holiness of the land of Israel for any reason, whether it's for family or for finding a wife.
He never left.
Not allowed to.
Isaac never left Israel.
Yes.
Also, you see that Isaac never spoke to his father after the sacrifice. He wasn't upset with his father. He went and spoke to him.
I don't think he was upset because he's the one who arranged for his father to get married with Keturah. So you can be that upset.
Yeah, finish it up. How's the bacon? Bacon was good? Yeah, it was good.
So the Rebbe explains why he made he made an oath, placing his hand by his thigh, because you have to take an object of mitzvah like a Torah or a tefillin, right? When you make an oath, and hence today also you have that idea, right, in a court of law, taken from here. This is the first instance of such a thing. So we know that the Avos, they fulfilled the entire Torah, even though it wasn't given. So why couldn't he use some other object? So we need to understand that before the giving of the Torah, the things that the forefathers and foremothers observed wasn't inherently holy. And everything that they did as far as mitzvahs was about something self-fulfilling and bringing them to a higher cleaving to the divine. But what they dealt with was not inherently divine. And what they could achieve is, achieving the utmost in human fulfillment. Except for one mitzvah, because that was a command of God, of the circumcision. And the reason why Avram got that is because that was a forerunner of all the mitzvahs that the Jewish people would get at Mount Sinai directly from God, as he got it direct from God, that one particular. So we got all the 613, and they all become then imbued with inherent holiness. So we know that our forefathers, what they did, foremothers too, is a signpost, is a sampling of what we will do in the future, and we get the empowerment from them. So where was this empowerment? Was in the bris milah, because that's the only thing that was a command directly from God, as we would get directly a command from God for all 613 commandments that would come at Mount Sinai. All right.
Were they all circumcised before the Torah?
Yeah. Okay.